Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Telling Tales and welcome back to Cincinnati Chronicles. It's been a little while since we did this. We split this final 4 episode arc down the middle and then didn't get back to it for, I don't even know how long it is now, like 6 weeks or something. Unfortunate, but we are finally here with the penultimate episode of our World of Darkness anthology. But before we start getting into things like recaps and player introductions and stuff like that, it's the usual promo to take care of. If you check down below this video, you'll see a number of links. The main ones are links to YouTube and to Twitch. If you want to see us live, that's on Twitch. If you want to see all of our previous streams handily archived for you, that would be YouTube. If you're interested in other things, there are links to our Discord, our Patreon, our social media, all the kind of things you might expect us to have. They're there, ready and waiting for your delectation. We also currently run 3 weekly campaigns. Mondays is Vason with Johnny and the Monday crew. Wednesdays is Simbroom with myself and the Wednesday Simbroom crew, I guess. And currently on Thursdays, it's this, Cincinnati Chronicles. However, the final episode will be next week, and then after that, we'll be hopping back to Pierre's big, wet, post-apocalyptic survival thing. I should say, it sounds like I'm describing his story as big and wet, but the Big Wet is the name of the indie system that we're using. And then after that, who knows? Crazy things could happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You'll just have to wait and see. We also run one-shots on a monthly basis. We try and run 2. Sometimes we run 1. This month there should be 2 with current planning. On the 20th, Johnny will be running a third story in his sort of Space Thulu universe, which is Call of Cthulhu set in space. And on the 26th, I will be running Hell Knight, which is another lovely indie TTRPG, a Doom biker TTRPG. So tune in for that one on the 26th if it sounds interesting. Okay. I swear every single week the promo is getting faster and faster. I'm just becoming. This is now my main area of expertise, which is unfortunate because it's worthless. So, with that in mind, let's talk just a little bit, because if this is your first time jumping into Cincinnati Chronicles, you're going to be real fucking confused. What we've done with this is it's a World of Darkness anthology series. The first 5 parts of the story were each 5 different World of Darkness systems: Vampire, Werewolf, Mage, Wraith, Changeling, all with stories taking part on a single day in 1995 in Cincinnati. And those stories kind of crossed over and bounced around each other and stuff. And they were sort of centered around the a linking of an antagonist. And that antagonist was eventually uncovered as a sort of very, very powerful and unhinged mage. And then this final part of the story has taken one of each of the characters from those different anthology series, all pulled together and basically kidnapped and held for diabolical purposes by said mage. We'll get into a sort of little summary of what happened in the last session, but first let's start bringing on the players and introducing them. And we're gonna start today with good old Chris. Hello. It feels
Hello.
like only a day since I last saw you and streamed an RPG with you, Chris.
It is indeed. And a warm greeting to everyone watching on Twitch. Welcome to one of 3 Twitch sites not currently streaming Baldur's Gate 3.
Shit, maybe should we pivot
I
midstream?
think it's too late. Also, we have an embargo on D&D because no one on the crew
Because
likes it.
no, I think there are literally. I think literally this might be one of the only streams on the channel, Chris, where we're actually outnumbered by people who do like D&D.
I will. This is the hill I will literally die on.
I know, in a World of Darkness stream too. That's just
Yeah.
insult to injury. Tell us about Beanstalk, our friendly neighborhood werewolf.
Beanstalk, a bit of a silent strider, one with an ambiguous kind of upbringing. His full name is Stalks the Camp because that's how he was discovered by a powerful mentor who taught him a great many things, enigmatic, strange things, and he has been traveling around, learning a lot of kind of etiquette and a lot of Garu. He is a metis, so he started from below it's effectively a second class citizen, somewhat of an abomination almost, but has worked his way up, and in previous adventures helped to clear out a little bit of wormiological interference in Cincinnati, and for his hard work and labor has been teleported into a horrifying umbral realm surely to die.
So that seems like a pretty good summary. We do normally have character art up, but StreamYard is being very objectionable to actually allowing John, who usually loads in our character art, to load in character art at the moment. So we will have character art with you as soon as we can. Trying to load again, apparently. Switch. See if doing a bit of this. Nope, apparently not. I can't even see it on the preview at the bottom, John. It's a bit crazy. What's it work like? Because we had this a bit yesterday with Simbaroom, but mine was fine. So
It popped up eventually.
Yeah, but mine did mine take a while to load yesterday? Out of interest, Chris.
The whole stream it did not
which
appear
was
for
mine.
quite some time, but it did pop
okay.
up eventually. Now has exceeded that time limit, so I think this is a lost cause.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's try again with the next person, and we'll see how we do. And the next person, it's Holly.
Hello.
Hello, Holly. Holly plays Natalia Wolf. Natalia Wolf is our resident vampire. Holly, tell us all about Natalia.
She is indeed a vampire. So she's fairly new to being a vampire. I think she only got turned like maybe a year or two ago, depending on what timeline we're running in. But she is like a punky, grungy graffiti artist who became embroiled in another of the weird evenings over the course of this playthrough, with a strange occurrence at a gas station which ended in brutal murder of several non-kindred. Eventually managed to solve it, however, got offered some assistance from Prince Ludlow that she turned down, and that may have been a mistake because now she really needs to get out of Cincinnati, which she has succeeded in doing completely by accident, and has been also transported to said umbral realm of horrifying awfulness, where she's right next to a werewolf, which she really isn't happy about.
Yeah, not terribly a good thing. So let's wheel on the next player, and as we do so, I'm going to try and share some art. We'll see how that works out. So let's bring on Inga, and Inga can tell us all about her changeling character, Rhea.
Rhea is an issues. She's a pretty freewheeling, generally carefree, happy sort of character, but things have not been obviously going terribly well recently. She was on a high, things were going well. We helped an order of knights and restored some wonderful characters to their true selves who've maybe not had such fun again more recently. She was having a grand old adventure. And then things went horribly wrong. That's Rhea.
Thank you. And just to make sure, can everyone else see the character art I've put up? Yeah. Like I said, I think it's working for me, but not you, John. So I don't know what's going on with that. But as you can see, that's actually a collage of all the character art. You can see Rhea on the far left there, Beanstalk, the second in. Then ignore the others because they're not important yet. And second to last is Natalia. And the right-hand side character, who we're going to bring on now, it's John. Hi, John.
Hello.
The Wraith. Why don't you take a moment out of your busy schedule of mourning the fact that StreamYard seems to be targeting you specifically, and tell us about Abby.
Abby is a former successful children's author who was perpetually frustrated about not being known for her much less successful and pseudonymous crime mystery series. Did I use that word in a way that makes sense, even if it's not correct?
Pseudonymous.
Okay,
no, it is. I think it is right as well.
Okay, well that's lucky. And then she was unfortunately made dead possibly via murder. She's not entirely sure. She'd love to find out, but for now, she's just sort of stuck with these guys, I guess.
Pretty accurate. Well then, I said they weren't important for now, but now they're of the utmost importance. It's the character in the middle there, Carolyn Zelrich, and more specifically, Carolyn's player. Pierre, hello. Why don't you tell us about Carolyn the Mage and round out this very motley crew?
Yes, Carolyn's like she's a bit of a hippie. She's kind of all about peace and love. She loves to dance. She had a bit of a sobering experience, which maybe like put a little bit of a sort of dent on that otherwise perfect and shining view of the humanity of people, as she encountered this terrible green-robed mage who seemed to have some connection to a professor that she's been helping and studying under. So she's currently in a state of horror and confusion at realizing that maybe the professor she knew was not the man he appeared to be. And she's kind of a small and relatively lithe kind of individual, because she is a dancer. So she's very kind of she's constantly fiddling and moving and rapping on things, and has a lot of nervous energy about her at the moment, particularly.
Absolutely. I like the description of kind of like that Professor Will Craig may have some kind of connection to the Mage, and that connection is they have the same face, which seems pretty damning, but we'll find out, I suppose. All right, there we go, folks. Those were the character introductions. So let me just run through a quick recap. And then we will start. Essentially, at the beginning of the previous session, our players found themselves all held captive by this mysterious antagonistic mage in glass cases in a strange stone room covered in vegetation. And not only were they in glass cases, but also in front of them were a kind of an inner ring of glass cases containing various characters they had encountered in their previous stories. There was some chance for people to try and talk to each other and figure out what situation they were in. And indeed, the case in front of Carolyn Zelrich was occupied by Professor Will Cray, you think, who seemed to be someone kind of sort of resigned to any kind of fate that was going to happen, and also seemed to be just behaving a bit off in himself. Eventually this all culminated with the mage in the center of these glass cases performing some kind of ritual, which seemed to be going round these inner cases one by one and doing unpleasant stuff to the people within them. Will Cray himself seemed to be sort of subsumed into the mage in some fashion. Loveland the vampire was rendered into ashes and dust, which no one is going to be particularly crying about, but still. An old wraith that you had encountered also seemed to be pitched into oblivion. Marshall, the White Knight of Cincinnati, seemed to have his Famien stripped from him in some fashion. Unfortunately, in a way in which he'd only just recovered from recently. And then finally, the Korax, known by various names, but which was the name of the werewolf she gave the werewolves? Was that was it Branwen? Was it?
It was indeed
Morrigan?
Branwen.
It was Branwen. We'll call her Branwen then. When it came her turn, she managed to do something to interrupt the ritual. The mage seemed confused. The mage, who had by this point revealed his face to be that of the professor, and in his confusion, she managed to fire a sharpened raven's feather into his face, leading to the collapse of the ritual, the destruction of the cases around you. She fell to the floor, promptly completely shattered her ankle, but then managed to scream at you to run. And Marshall is on his feet as well, looking confused but perfectly willing to follow this instruction, given the strange environs around him. and we will sort of pick up with that, but rather than kind of like confusedly go around how each of you are running or anything like that, is it safe to say, just on a quick canvas, that instruction is being followed?
The only slight thing is, does the Branwyn, like, basically the Branwyn person looks somewhat injured, and I definitely would be like, instinct is to come and try and pull this person along initially.
Well, she certainly is injured, and I would say you definitely can do that. But the very first act taken by Marshall, who's the closest to her because of being in the inner circle, is as soon as he saw someone with a screaming run with a broken ankle, he immediately dashed over to them and hefted them up to start running with them.
Okay, yeah, then I definitely would kind of follow suit. I am not going to be the person carrying Branwyn on my shoulders.
No, you were possibly the least capable of doing this, as well as the kind of smallest and least. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Well, rather than kind of go around and kind of go, where are you running, and so on and so forth, hopefully this will provide some clarity for you. Only one exit from the chamber is visible. Now that you've passed beyond the shaft of light from the opening overhead that sort of illuminated the mage and the cases, you can more clearly see the stone walls curled with dead and living plant growth. For the most part, they are featureless, cracked stone, but nearby on the curved wall is a lack of something, a pitch-dark portal of nothingness, impossible to trace the shape of, like an absent-minded rent in reality. It is the only way that looks to lead from this chamber, and behind you there is an enraged bellowing and the sound of atoms splitting apart as the world is reforged into maddening shapes. So, and as always, it's up to you what you do with this, but Marshall, for one, is certainly heading for this mysterious and intimidating dark portal.
Yeah, I'll try and go take the lead in this one.
The only other opening in the chamber is that one overhead, which is a good. I'm always terrible with distances. What would be about 3 stories up in feet or meters, I guess.
10, 15 meters.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, it's about 15 meters above you. So unless you can climb 15 meters on a stone overhang.
Yep. My plan is to get out in front and kind of take the darkness head on.
I'll stay close with Marshall.
He's kind of like he's not having a lot of trouble carrying Branwyn. She's not a small person, but Marshall, even not as a troll, is a very tall, powerful looking young man. And he kind of shoots a glance at you as he does so and sort of squints his face a little bit as if he's trying to remember. Does he know you from somewhere? You seem familiar to him. So everyone is going for this portal then?
Yeah, Natalia's going to like pause for like half a second as she sees the werewolf go towards the portal, look back at the horribleness behind her and just go shit and dive through the portal.
Sure, absolutely. Well, based on what you've said, why don't we, I'm not saying it's important, but let's say it sounds like the kind of order of people through this is probably Beanstalk. He's going to be the fastest anyway, being both the largest and the most athletic individual in the group. And then let's say that Carolyn and Abby go through next. Natalia just pausing long enough to allow those through and then in, and Rhea probably last because Marshall will be one of the slowest because he is carrying Branwyn. Okay, all of you feel a kind of sickening lurch as you pass through the portal. You feel like physically you feel like you're falling forwards for maybe a few feet or so, but also something about the movement around you and the way your bodies feel gives you the sensation that you're passing through a much, much larger space, and that space has limited relation to the kind of reality of space you have previously passed through ever. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to have quite a few sort of vignette scenes. Okay, you'll get quite quickly how kind of roughly how these are going to work, but what I'm going to start doing is randomizing the order in which they happen. Okay, so first off, I will need to roll one of these. That's what makes sense, and that is that. Okay, here we go. So not all like each, there is a selection of you in each of these. Okay. And in this case, we are going to join Natalia and Carolyn as they. What should we do with it? Shall we keep people on, or should we cut down to just 3 cams? What do we think, folks? What do people kind of prefer? It might be nice to see people's reactions, I guess. So,
Yeah.
You know what? You know what I'm going to do? We're going to have a gallery. This is what we're going to do. So it's always the people on the top row who are involved, right? And that actually helps me because it means I don't have to move my eyes and my chrometer downwards. So there we go. But the bottom is the gallery. There we go. So Natalia and Carolyn, both of you, and every time someone sort of, I'll describe people as kind of like landing or arriving, okay? And it's like you had the sensation of falling, but when you arrive in this place, it's like you just step through a door and your feet hit the ground, and then you are in this place. And the place you are specifically in, you emerge onto a slightly curved surface of packed solid earth. Above you, a bright space opens up, dominated by large spheres of various elements. A sphere of living flame roars and spits in yellows, oranges, and blues, while a small swirling mass of wind and air turns and twists nearby, the gusts visible through pure force. Another sphere of churning water is near them, undercurrents and waves turning the surface almost opaque. Beyond them are other odder spheres. One thrums with some kind of barely perceptible strength, another is made up of pure light difficult to look directly at, and yet another is a faint blue spherical outline where the edge seems to crackle and split the air around it. At the center of each of these looks to be some kind of, I mean, not familiar in a friendly way, but familiar dark portal.
I sort of
It
look
does not
around.
feel like a particularly safe place.
Yeah, no. Where are the others?
I have no idea what is going on, and she's just going to be like looking up at the spheres, just completely confused.
And for reference, it's actually interesting here because obviously, like Natalia, I suppose, I can imagine Natalia out of all of our players being the character to be like most freaked out about this stuff, because the Mage and the Werewolf have traveled in the Umbra. They know, they've seen weird shit. Abby's dwelled in the Shadowlands, like nothing quite like this, but you know, is used to a spirit realm of some kind. And Rhea just exists in a world of weird and imaginative crap. So, like, a vampire, you're like, where's the gothic-punk
Exactly.
alleyway ambiance here? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Would I from my studies, would I have known anything about this place, or is this unknown to me?
Give me, and this is kind of a related roll to one I think you made last time as well, but give me a intelligence plus, God, what's the...
I've got cosmology or
cosmology.
enigmas.
Yeah. Cosmology would be good. Intelligence plus cosmology roll. Difficulty, let's say 8.
So that's 5 dice, 2 10s, and a 9. So 3 successes.
Yeah, well, in the same way that the last place you were in, I think you reached the conclusion because you couldn't cast magic. And I think you reached the conclusion that you were perhaps in a kind of pocket realm. Oh, the Marauder's pocket realm, right?
Yeah.
Again, like, just not to rehash things, but Carolyn is fast drawing the conclusion that this mage is a marauder, a mage who thrives on paradox, where the mages would reel from it. And if you thought that maybe you were in a pocket realm, now you're like, almost entirely certain this is exactly the kind of weirdness that a mage would like create in order to experiment or for various purposes. It's possible you're just out there somewhere in like the astral umbra, but it just seems too contained and precise.
Okay, so it's...
you think you're still in his domain, just in a different area of it.
Yeah, this is like, looks like it's maybe someplace he's been doing experiments. I guess we're probably gonna want to go through one of these portals.
You want us to go through one of them? What?
Well, I mean, it got us in here.
It's worth noting that you feel very light, and if any of you like in any way move your bodies, you will like gently float off the surface of the earth that you're on.
Okay. Yeah, I might accidentally do that and then try and like grab back on.
Sure. Yeah. There's very limited gravity here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're definitely not going through that one, and she's going to point at the fire one.
Yes, I guess the water one. If I reach out, can I sense do I sense the same sort of rejection of magic that like I have previously done, or will I have to try something before I feel that kind of thing?
I think that's an interesting question. You know what? I think you can effectively cast a very minor bit of magic to see if you can cast magic. Does that make sense?
I'll get some. Yeah, exactly.
Like and you'll get some
feeling
response,
out.
But
do I get like a paradox backlash immediately?
Yeah. Well, have you got Prime?
I don't have Prime. I have Correspondence, Life, and Time.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I can sense anything to do with like locations in terms of.
You could do that, or you could a very easy and cantrip that a lot of mages use is just sense life to detect.
Yes.
Like, am I alone? Is there a wild animal nearby? Things like that, right? Sense life is a very simple sort of.
Yeah, I'll try and
level 1 life sphere.
I'll try and detect life with some like positions of life nearby, or using the combination of correspondence and life maybe. To do it over some distance.
You don't need correspondence to do it. You
okay, cool.
Use life to...
So then that will just be my. Is this vulgar? Is this?
No, not at all. Not in the slightest.
Okay, so I think it's 3 plus. Sorry, highest sphere plus 3. So that's 4 in total. So yeah,
so it's
and
difficulty 4.
What I'll do is I will sort of try and do some sort of call and response style thing, where I try and like listen for the characteristic noises of life.
You're kind of doing like life sonar sort of thing. Yeah, sure. Which will probably look really normal to Natalia. So yeah, go for it. So roll your arete.
Yep.
And I think it goes to a minimum of 4, right? So I think like any like, though you're doing your dance, like it depends if I put any minuses on it, right? And I don't think I will put any minuses on it. So or if I did, there wouldn't be more than -1. So it's going to be a 4 anyway.
Okay, I'll just roll 3 dice and see what I get. 8, 5, 4. So I got 1 success. Actually, no,
3 successes.
3 successes, yes, because obviously it's 4 difficulty. I was like, difficulty 7 is default. No.
No.
Yeah.
Because the difficulty is the highest sphere plus 3, right? Because it's not vulgar. So, okay, you are successful. 2 things to pick up from it. Number 1, you feel the like edges of the magic you are casting pushing back at you. You think that if you tried anything more powerful in this place, the Marauders' countermeasures would come for you, whatever they are. You think where you were, like, because you tried and then immediately stopped, like, it would not be a good idea to push your luck. Unless you effectively want to end up in a contest of wills with the Marauder.
No.
This is his realm and his rules, right? But for whatever reason, where you are now, you can try something. And I'm not going to say exactly what, but I'm going to say anything much more than what you're doing would trip those countermeasures. So that's one thing. The second thing is you are the only living thing in this space.
Yeah.
The
If I had any doubt at all when Professor Cray was like, "Oh yes, you're dead," I'm like, "You're oh, he meant it."
Why are you dancing? What?
I will abruptly stop and go, "How are you talking?"
What do you mean? How? What? Of course I'm talking.
Okay, you're dead, but that's fine. You're talking. Let's just focus on. You seem like you're a nice person.
How did you? What? How did you know? Anyway, right. No, let's just get out of here.
Yeah, I agree. I was trying to read the which way to go. I don't know if you have any other abilities other than talking while dead that might help us here.
You're one of these magic-y types as well, then.
Yes.
Okay.
Pleased to meet you. My name's Carolyn.
Natalia.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, let's try and get out of here.
So I believe you were discussing the water one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The water, the earth. What are there's a lightning one that I don't like the look of.
There's an air one and a fire one. Those are the one you're on the earth one. Water and fire are near you, and beyond that are some other elemental forces, and you can take your guesses at them, but they're definitely weirder.
Yeah.
Let's not go for any of those ones, and I'm going to point to the weird ones, and definitely not that one, the fire one.
The fire or the light one.
Yeah,
pretty bad.
Yeah, neither of them, please. Yeah, we can try air or water, I guess.
Okay, maybe I can try and work out which ones are paths more trodden. Maybe I can figure out which one of these is the one which people go through the most. That might lead us deeper, but maybe it also... I assume that this green mage visited the real world frequently. Maybe he left some trace as he went.
Yeah, we can try. I mean, I can listen at the portal and see if I can hear anything coming out of it.
Or if there are any tracks in the earth or anything, or...
From just a brief examination of the portal, like, there is no sound penetrating through. You don't think it's that kind of doorway, as it were. Also, the packed earth you're standing on is a perfectly featureless sphere.
Oh, okay.
You're on a sphere in the same way the hanging things are a sphere.
Okay.
You just emerged on the earth one.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll try a second time. And I'll sort of start... The thing I'm going to attempt to do is the same sort of thing, but in the realm of correspondence. I want to see if anything has been trodden more than anything else. Like if anything.
If you're trying to do that, what that will be is...
or is that more severe?
That will be correspondence, time, and life.
Okay. I think I can't do that. So I'm going to... Look, I don't realistically think me using more magic here is a good idea, actually.
Yeah, let's not do any more magic. This is all... let's not do that.
Okay. Okay. Now, I don't mean this to be offensive, but you're already dead. So maybe if you just go through one of these, and if it seems good, maybe come back and let me know.
Fine. And she's gonna scowl a little bit and then jump towards the water one.
Okay. You jump and drift through the kind of space between the sphere of earth and the sphere of water. You have very little control once your feet have left the kind of ground of the earth sphere, and as you kind of reach out towards the water, it is kind of, I guess as a vampire you can't maybe really tell how cold or warm it might be, but it certainly isn't of an extreme of either of them that it causes any kind of discomfort to your physical form. You can feel that it's kind of surging and flowing very powerfully around. It's like putting your hand in like a fast flowing river, or a very speedy tide. Or probably around when the water is nearing your shoulder, you just get dragged under.
Okay.
You find yourself just kind of buffeted around these the undercurrents flowing through the sphere of water. It is dragging you towards the portal. Like it's it's pulling you towards the center, and the portal's at the center. So you are making your way there without much effort to make it happen faster. But are you trying to do anything against this kind of force of water that's buffeting you?
If it's taking me towards the portal, I think I'm just going to kind of like try and float to conserve energy.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. Natalia, you find yourself pulled kind of, and it's getting faster the closer you're getting, right? These undercurrents are like dragging you through there with an increasing velocity. And before you know it, you pass through the portal. Carolyn, from your perspective, you see Natalia kind of like turbulently like turned upside down and swirled through this sphere of water and then through the portal.
Does she look, Natalia, do you look panicked or in any way freaked out as this is going on?
I'm not sure you could tell, but feel free to answer.
Is she that far? Is she that far away?
Yeah, I should probably have said the spheres are like at least 100 meters away from each other.
Oh, okay. But she's not like, is she like screaming
you
or
probably
like
see me
thrashing
like
around?
You see me like struggling a little bit and then just kind of go with it and just like go down the plug hole.
Natalia does have one advantage in being subsumed in a load of water that Carolyn might not have.
I don't need to breathe.
Oh man. Okay, so
Natalia does not re-emerge from the portal.
I wait like 30 to 40 seconds, and then I'm like, shit. And then I launch myself towards the water.
Okay. You journey just the same and are pulled under just the same. As soon as you make reasonable contact, you're dragged in and swirled around. Unlike Natalia, I'm going to need you to make let's say a stamina plus survival roll.
Okay.
It's going to be I'm going to say it's like a difficulty of let's say 8. That seems reasonable.
Oh well, I'm rolling 2 dice.
Hey.
So. No. 0.
In that case, could you roll just stamina, please, for me?
It's the same roll. 2 dice. This is 4 and a 2, which is not any more successes.
That's not any more successes. So I'm going to roll. Let's say I think that's a reasonable amount of dice to roll, which I probably should have rolled before you did, but that's fine. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, give yourself a point of bashing damage, please, which just reflects the fact that you basically have had the wind absolutely knocked out of you. And I don't know if you've ever swallowed water while swimming, but you don't exactly come out with your chest feeling the greatest.
Like I tried to inhale at the right time, and I did it just as I went under.
Yeah,
like,
you took a mouthful, and then so on and so forth. But inevitably, your body is like twisted and wrangled around, which is probably part of the bruising as well. Like you're just sore, and you'll find yourself again dragged within 60 seconds or so down towards the portal, or down and up, I suppose, towards the inner part of this water sphere, and you pass through that portal successfully. And that is where we will leave Natalia and Carolyn for now. Let's move on, and I'm trying to generate these scenes in a way that people don't get 2 in a row, you see. So I'll just do a quick count of how many I have to roll against with dice. That would be 1, 2. Oh, only 3. That's confusing. But it kind of makes sense. Okay. And let's go with, that will be this one. So I don't know if you want to flick these people up for me, John, just to be ever so handy. But can we have Chris and Inga on the top, please? Hey, just shuffling up, both shuffling up there. So, Beanstalk and Rhea, you have stepped forward to the portal and you immediately find yourself in quite a different environment. You are in a vast columned hall where dust and gravel swirls around gently up to your calves. There is audible and visible crumbling from the columns above, and every so often a scrap of stone cracks off from the vaulted ceiling above and vanishes into the piled dust below with soft, gusting noise. Hovering overhead, flickering and insubstantial, there is a glass case between what seem to be the two most central columns. It contains, and this is probably something which you did not expect, what looks to be an American Civil War Union soldier's uniform in a state of distinct disrepair and frayed with age.
How high?
Oh, way beyond your capability to leap or climb for it. Let's say like 100 feet. The chamber is vast. You know, think the 21st Hall of Moria. You know.
Okay. Well, remind me, Inga, is Rhea's quite slight and small, or is she?
I mean, compared to you.
Yeah. She's quite petite and yeah.
Well, yeah, let's in fact say actually the swirling dust underfoot is actually probably only past your ankles, Beanstalk, because you're so large. But
child, we will go faster if you ride me.
What? Marshall, is he with us at all? No. And looking around, is there kind of a like one direction just down this hall kind of thing, or are there?
It's an extremely wide, and you can only barely see kind of the walls in every direction. Yeah, so there is light coming through from like huge windows that seem to be very high up on those far walls, but the whole experience it's quite dim.
So I don't know whether this maybe would be an exception where something like this doesn't apply because everything is weird here. But as an issue, my birthright is serendipity, which means that I somehow always end up in the right place. And if there's kind of a fork road, sort of forks in the road, like I always seem to like know the right way to go. I have a bit of sort of surety of sense of direction. Do I still feel that? Or is that do things feel weirdly uneasy?
Yeah. I see no reason why you would not. You are not cut off from the dreaming. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? And we will get to that in a second. But first, I will also say John's actually raised a good point. Can Garu and Krinos speak English? And Chris answered yes, gruffly, which is correct. Gruffly and with quite short phrases and sentences. The other thing that occurs if you want to effectively give Rhea a piggyback, you're probably not in the best shape to do so. Forming to Hispo might actually be a better solution.
Yeah, I think you
could easily carry Rhea as well.
I think Hispo's going to be better for general speed. Let me check. Actually, let me do some minor rules lawyering because Krinos and Hispo, where are we on stamina? They're exactly the same. So I'm going to stay in Krinos.
Okay.
And maybe just carry her if we get to that, because she looks like she's in the process of thinking about something.
Well, I know there's no role for this, but you are in an unusual situation and in an unusual place, Rhea. So why don't you give me... do changelings have awareness as a talent?
Awareness, no. Alertness.
No, they've got alertness, right? Okay, let's use alertness instead. And give me a perception plus alertness roll. And I'm going to put it at 8 because I think being in a marauder's pocket realm makes things slightly more complex. You know what I mean? Also, this is just a weird place. 2 successes. There we go.
2 9s, yeah.
You are definitely kind of looking around, panicked at this quite uniform environment where you can see no ways out. Perhaps the windows, but they're like very high above and very far away, and moving through this gathered dust and debris is not easy. You feel an odd pulling in a direction that I'm not even going to bother trying to say like the direction it is, because like you can't really pin down. Yeah, you certainly can't tell like a cardinal direction. It's maybe to the rightish of where you were looking when you arrived, but other than that, you don't know.
Okay, right, sure. I'll start kind of scrambling to get onto Beanstalk's back and say, trust me, I think we need to go this way.
I have
And we'll sort of
no
point,
opinion,
indicate,
so
try to gesture. Yeah.
I will take yours. I will dash off to the right.
Okay.
On all fours, kind of somewhat awkwardly inclined.
Yeah, kind of loping in a sort of like human on all fours kind of form. Well, you know what? This is interesting that you two have ended up in this room, because anyone else I'd be asking them to roll for rolls to like wade through the dust, right? But instead, what I'm going to ask, I'm only going to ask Beanstalk, and I'm going to ask him for an easier roll, because to wade through it normally, I'd say Beanstalk can do it, but you have got a changeling on you kind of riding on your back. So let's have a your choice of strength or stamina, plus athletics, and let's have that at difficulty of 6, please, just to see how well you do. I'm sure you'll get a success. You can cream us with all those dice. You're on mute. Sorry.
We'll take stamina. It's the same number, but just for the flavor of it. And what was the other other binum?
Athletics, please. It's a talent.
So 6 plus nothing.
6 dice is pretty good for having no dots in the ability.
Oh no, I tell you, 6 plus 1, 7.
That's a greenos for you.
There we go. 28. Now let me check. What was the difficulty? 6?
6, yeah.
Oh, I don't succeed.
What?
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to spend a willpower.
Spend a willpower. Sure.
I can't take the
That's
embarrassment.
crazy. You rolled 7 dice and didn't get a 6.
1 6,
Woo.
and the rest of them were trash plus a 1.
Oh, you did get a 1.
I did get a 1, but there was a 6 as well. It wasn't a botch.
Oh, I see. Right. So the 1 cancels out the 6, but then the willpower. Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's more difficult than you thought. Kind of you think if you were thinking clearly and acting clearly, then even the weight of the changeling on your back, not that you know that Rhea is necessarily a changeling, would keep you. You'd still be able to be moving forwards without a problem. But honestly, your senses are going absolutely wild. Everything here smells wrong. The air tastes wrong. Everything just doesn't feel right, even for what you presume is the deep umbra. But with your kind of like internal reserves, you manage to keep yourself going, keep yourself pushing forwards. And before long, both of you hear a kind of rushing noise, and you round the corner of one of those large crumbling columns to find just a big pile of dust and almost like sand that's ground against itself. And in the center of it, there is like a divot, and you can hear like a sort of rushing sound somewhere below all this dust and sand.
This still ties with like the sense of direction that I'm feeling drawn to.
Absolutely does. Yeah.
Whatever this
is, this is the way to go for you.
Yeah. This is going to sound really weird, but I think this is exactly where we need to go. I think we need to go down, through, in that.
To the intuition of a stranger, I must pass. Very well. I suppose I'll kind of take you under my arm if you'll commit, because that's probably the safest way, and then just kind of wade into whatever this weird
absolutely
conflagration is.
Well, the sand and the dust is taking your weight so far. If you want to find what's at the bottom of this kind of divot where the rushing noise is coming from, you're going to have to clear some of this, and obviously powerfully and quickly. Otherwise, it will just keep replacing itself. Essentially, you've got to try and burrow or scrabble to get down to where the whatever it is.
Okay, so I was kind of assuming there'd be some form of sucking action, but that was incorrect. So I will maybe lay Rhea to the side and just go quite dog on it.
Sure, absolutely. Do you want
help.
to? Well, yeah, you can help too. So I need a certain number of successes. Beanstalk, can you give me strength plus primal urge, please? Because I think doing that can be a bit of a primal urge thing for a Garu. I'll tell you what, your choice of primal urge or athletics. And Rhea, it's just going to be a strength plus athletics roll for you, I think. Both of them are just standard difficulty of 7.
I had 1 dice to roll there, and it was an 8.
Okay, so you're definitely clearing some out of the way, but I suspect we're about to hear from Chris that Beanstalk is the primary burrower here.
I got 4 successes, which I'm pretty happy with.
There we go. Well, both together, those are more than I needed. You clear a lot of the sand and the debris and the dust out of the way, and for a moment, you both glimpse the dark, jagged edge of another one of those portals.
I think this is some kind of doorway, something that we need to. Yeah, I don't know what's on the other side, but I think this is where we need to be.
Okay, I go first. Sick of these games.
Okay. Beanstalk, you leap forward through the portal and you have exactly the same sensation as last time. You're passing through to somewhere else. Are you doing the same, Rhea? The sand is probably rushing now that Beanstalk is...
I've almost ignored the sort of, I'll go first. I've gone straight in after him as well. Yeah,
no problem. All right. Well, then you both pass through, and there we will leave you for now. Okay, let me take a look at another scene without either of you. That would be 1 and... Maybe this isn't a practical thing. 1 and 2 and... Oh, God, that's it. Maybe I should abandon this notion. But we'll keep on it for now. Sooner or later, it's going to start taking care of itself, I think. Okay, John, could I have yourself and Pierre up at the top, please? So, Carolyn and Abby. For a start, Carolyn, when you emerge to see this, there is no sign of Natalia. Instead, near you is the kind of slightly translucent and spectral-looking figure that you saw in a different one of the cases. And for both of you, what you see as you emerge is a colossal globe-shaped chamber overflowing with rampant plant life like a swollen and crowded rainforest. At the center hangs a star-like light, letting out a comfortable heat. All around, but mostly in the distance, are strange animal noises. At the lowest place in the chamber, a deeper darkness is visible amongst a tangled growth of vine-covered trees.
Natalia? I can't see her, obviously. Do I see Abby? You're muted.
Thank you. You're probably coughing up water a bit as well. You can see Abby. For everyone's purposes, if you need to picture it, Abby, you can see Abby as if she were using Embody, the Wraith arcane noise. So you see her as a ghost, right? As like this slightly translucent, hazy, ghost-like figure.
Sorry,
God,
I forget your name.
I'm Abby.
Abby.
Are you all right?
No, I went in second to one of those dark portals, and did you see the very pale dead one?
Just me. You
two.
Oh no, she was
Everyone's
dead. Behind me, wasn't she? Yes.
But like
She was-
here, she came through the portal first. Like couldn't have been.
No.
Okay.
Was I waiting here before Carolyn arrived, or
Nope.
did we both arrive at the same time?
You arrived at the same time.
Okay.
No,
I think...
unless she's gone on ahead.
Or there might be something strange going on with time. We're still in his domain, I think. I can't see very many places to go here. There is that darkness in the center.
It doesn't look unlike another portal.
Mm.
But it looks like, it's not near. It'll be quite, you have to tramp a bit through this rainforest-like environment for sure.
Are you able to float or...
No.
Oh. What is the point of being dead if you can't... Never mind.
Wait,
okay.
I can't float, can I, Matt?
Do you have Argos?
No.
Then no. You can pass through things, but it costs you corpus.
Okay, I don't really have any good ideas. Maybe we can take a closer look at the center, see if there's another doorway.
All right. I guess
I was just in a realm of spheres and concepts. It was much less hospitable than this place, but yeah, a lot of people look at me like that. Let's get moving.
So are the two of you making a way through this not immediately easily traversable environment?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll see if I can.
Okay. Can you now, Abby? You can forego this roll entirely if you use your corpus to start passing through things. I don't have the rules immediately for that here, but what we can do is if you choose to do so, you can check on the rules while other people are in the next scene and then apply it to your corpus. I don't think it would cost you that much corpus, which for everyone's awareness is basically health. I think this is the thing. I don't know if it's per scene or per action that it costs a point of corpus. If it's for a scene that you can pass through things for a point of corpus, then yeah, that's what it is. But if it's for per action, it's definitely going to be more than 1 point of corpus for this.
Yeah.
But either way, you can, make that decision.
Vaguely from memory, I seem to think it's also to do with how much you're going through. If you're going through the occasional vine, that's fine. But
it's the ouch and excuse me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna try and follow along in Carolyn's wake, but if that ends up too difficult, I'll just go for it.
So that's what that is going to be, is a wits, either wits or dexterity, and then either athletics or survival roll for both of you. Standard difficulty.
Okay, I'm going to go for...
Don't forget willpower as well, of course.
I'm going to go for athletics and dexterity because as a dancer, that is my best way forward.
I'm going to go for wits and athletics because the Wraith sheet doesn't have survival on it.
Yeah, fair enough. Why would
That's funny.
It's kind of obsolete at this point, right?
Is it difficulty 7?
Yes, standard difficulty.
Okay, 5 successes.
Carolyn, no problem.
She's a climber.
3 successes.
Absolutely. You both pass through this rainforest environment with a minimum of obstacles. The only one thing is, as you are getting closer to kind of the base of this huge sphere, and it is worth pointing out, by the way, that the plant life continues on the top of the sphere. You're basically in a, not that I'm saying either, I imagine Carolyn probably does because it's a kind of weird concept a mage would know, but you're essentially in a kind of small Dyson sphere type environment, right, with this almost star-like light at the center of it. You find yourself approaching near the base where you saw the darkness among the plants, but as you do so, there is definitely something quite large moving through the rainforest somewhere near you. You can hear a kind of tramping noise. You can hear an odd kind of guttural, half a roar, half a kind of trumpeting. It doesn't seem to be kind of like on your trail or anything, but it's certainly nearby, and it doesn't sound A, earthly, or B, like a herbivore.
Okay. I go very quiet at hearing that, and sort of shoot a nervous glance over at Abby.
Sure.
But then just sort of try and keep moving.
So
Now
maybe the
being
rest
more
of the
quiet.
way towards the base. So you trying to move stealthily rather than
Yeah.
Okay. Well then give me a wits plus stealth roll. And you know what? You can make it at 7, Carolyn, and Abby, you can make it at 5. Because let's go even 4. I don't think a wraith is making much noise passing through the jungle, right?
This is a worse roll for
So-
me, so I'm going to roll my 3 dice. Oh, I got 1 success, a 10.
Okay.
So
I rolled no successes. My only success was cancelled out.
Okay. Are you using willpower or anything?
You know what? Let's do that.
Okay. Abby, you're not used to kind of like the risk of making noise particularly, but you do find yourself kind of like partly moving your your slightly drifting corpus around some kind of branches that you almost tangled yourself in, and both of you find yourself in the base of this sphere. In front of you are a particularly thorny and tangled looking set of vines which seem to be framed around another one of those darkened portals in the kind of very, very odorful, loamy earth of the rainforest.
does it look pretty much identical, other than the thing?
The portal looks very similar, yes. It looks
the only
similar
thing
to both the ones you've gone through.
The thing I'm sort
If you're
of
looking
worrying,
for distinguishing marks, like this is like a maze you have to figure out.
No.
Absolutely no chance.
The thing I'm looking for more is like whether the because I'm aware that this whole realm is supported by that one mage, and I'm just worried that like his psychological state, or like whether he's deteriorating or getting angry, might affect these portals. And I'm like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I really
absolutely
hope that they're still looking solid and supported. And
yeah, absolutely. If his focus on, if he has to maintain any level of focus for this, and it breaks down, then yes, you will all be sent spinning out into the astral umbra before like you could blink. Yeah, assuming it's in the far reaches of the umbra, which you'd imagine that it is, to maintain this level of like willful tugging at paradox.
okay, well, I guess I'll just sort of say, I said something to another dead person that I slightly regret now. I'll go in first, and then I'll go into the portal.
Oh, well, how are you getting through this massive tangle of thorny vines first?
Oh, I didn't realize it was covering it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Do they look flammable?
Oh, yeah, they're plant life, you know?
I don't have any mana of...
But, I mean, they don't look dry.
Yeah, and also I don't necessarily have anything to set fire to them. I guess I'll start trying to pull them
aside. Yeah,
pull them aside.
Sure, absolutely. Why don't we start with a strength plus athletics roll then at difficulty, let's say 6.
Okay.
Let's start with that.
I rolled 1, 1, and 1, 10, and then 2 successes.
Okay. And now I'm going to need from you a roll for dexterity plus either athletics or survival to avoid these large jagged thorns while you're doing it.
Okay, I'm going to go dexterity and athletics. That was... Oh, damn. So that was difficulty 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I got 2 successes and then 2 ones, so 0.
Okay. Well then, you kind of you feel them giving way as you're kind of like wrenching on them, and you feel like kind of like what you're doing is paying off, and if you just wrench a bit further, you can kind of wrest them open. You do that, and it happens but you unfortunately, like as you're moving, another vine kind of like that was sort of being restrained springs out and just scores a not really deep but quite painful gash, like all along like the sort of side of your forearm there.
Okay.
Take 1 point of lethal.
Oof.
It's very painful.
So, is the way that works now? Because I basically was uninjured and I had 1 point of bashing, and now I have a point of lethal.
What you do is turn the bashing into lethal, and then below it put a point of bashing.
Yeah.
So the lighter damage always moves downwards.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is the kind way it does that. Like the harshest damage is always the quickest to heal.
Sure.
God, are you all right?
Yeah, I think I'm okay. I'm just an idiot. I went a bit too fast.
Lucky you were with this dead person, because the other dead person only has 3 points in her blood pool. So, but the way is open for you now. The portal is ahead of you. You can hear that tramping sound and the odd animal calls getting a bit closer.
I look at the blood sort of like dripping onto the forest floor, and I kind of go, I should get moving.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I try and go through the portal.
Okay, you go through successfully. The sensation is the same as last time. Abby, how about you? Same.
I am briefly curious about this creature tramping through the rainforest, so I would forest. So I would probably try and get a glimpse at it, but fall through the portal as quickly as I can.
Sure, but you're trying to get a glimpse in. Okay, so let's have one thing happen, like at the same time as this. Could you give me an intelligence plus? What's the kind of wraith equivalent of cosmology? Is there something that like wraithly matters? So it'll be under knowledge as if it's there. Is there like a lore or a?
There's enigmas and occult.
Okay, let's go with enigmas, shall we? Give me a wits plus enigmas roll, please, and let's have it as a difficulty 8. Do you normally have embody? Okay, let's keep it at difficulty 8 then.
That is 1 success at the end of it.
You do not practice the arcane way of embody, but you do seem to be embodied, and you are aware that when embodied, wraiths, corpses can typically be damaged, just like anything else in the real world. Having said that, this thought only occurs to you as you see the flank of something large and sort of kind of reptilian in kind of the scales on its side, kind of moving through the rainforest nearby. It looks pretty fucking big, and it's making that, again, kind of odd trumpeting slash not roaring so much as growling noise. It's like a trumpeting noise, but with like a kind of rattle to it. We're going through the portal?
I'm going to fall backwards through the portal.
Sure. Okay. The sensation of falling through is just like the first portal you took. And with that, let's move to our next two. And I pre-rolled this time. Can we have Natalia and Rhea up top, please? So both of you have already done. I think everyone's gone through a portal now, right? But both of you emerge, and obviously the two of you are there, and not your previous companions of Carolyn and Beanstalk. You seem to be inside some kind of tremendous machine. All around you, pistons and clockwork and 1,000 other mechanisms flare and clatter, composed of 1,000 different materials. Plastics, metals, composites, and stranger things still. Inside the solid components can be discerned the gurgling of liquids, the hissing of compressed gases, and the crackling of plasmas. The sensory input is highly intimidating, as everything moves and clicks and revolves to a completely unknown purpose, if there is any purpose at all. Underfoot and overhead and around the mechanisms like cables and lines and long threads of twisted wire, all crisscrossed with some demented logic. It's quite a place to immediately arrive.
Yeah, okay.
Natalia is soaking wet, by the way.
I was about to say, Natalia's just going to come through the portal just like a wet dog, just like... oh, where's she gone? I hate magic. I hate magic so much. And then he's going to see Ria and just go, oh, hi?
Hi. This is not what I thought. Look behind. There's no one following through the portal, presumably. This was supposed to be the right way to go. Where did you just come from?
A weird room full of spheres of elements. It's horrible.
Mine was like some big built like a there was a almost like a museum or something. We have to get out of here.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. I'm Natalia, by the way.
Oh, Ria.
You seem like fairly normal, so I'm happy with this.
Thank you.
For anyone curious, by the way, I think the players probably know this, but in case they don't, although Ria does seem kind of normal in general, like Ria's Famien isn't as extreme as many changelings are. Basically, just kind of like slightly pointed ears, and maybe kind of like quite. I think Ishu have kind of like a slightly kind of like. Are you Ishu or Seta? Sorry. You're Ishu,
yeah.
right? Yeah, have a kind of like slightly maybe elongated and sort of like very graceful looking body. But even those elements, none of these individuals can see. Ria looks like her human form to all of these. Just I think we knew that already, but just
that's why I said you look fairly normal. Okay, let's try and find the way out. This is really loud and horrible.
Do I still feel that pull in it somewhere?
You know, you do, Inga, and you're ruining. No, no, it's really no. It's handy at moving some of these through a bit faster. So yeah, you absolutely do. Yeah. But again, I think I'll make you roll for it. God, what did I say last time? Perception and alertness.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think I've made it difficulty 8. So yeah,
I
see no reason to. One success. Yeah. Again, you feel like a familiar kind of tugging sensation. That you roughly know the way you need to move through here. And you know what? While you are looking around kind of for this, why don't you give me a wits plus? Do changelings have technology as a knowledge or science?
Yes, technology and science both exist. I have no points in either, so never mind.
Then just a wits roll for me, please. And let's call that difficulty 8.
3 successes.
Okay, not only do you feel like you need to go in a direction, but you also kind of know you definitely can't sort of grok what it might mean or like do anything as simple as like following a cable. But to your quick glance around, many of the cables and like bundled wires and pipes and stuff seem to be going in the direction that your gut is telling you to go in.
Look, I think we need to go this way. I just came through a portal with that dog thing.
Oh, the werewolf. Yeah.
Actually, a werewolf.
I know. Yeah. Horrifying,
Such
right?
different reactions.
Oh my god, I should have asked him so many more questions.
No,
Oh
you shouldn't.
my God.
You should have run away very quickly.
Oh no, he was amazing.
I love the changeling urge to be whimsical in the most inappropriate of moments.
You
Okay, we've got
have...
to find him. Okay, maybe
No,
if we
no,
go,
no, we
maybe
don't. No,
find
we
another
don't.
portal.
No.
Okay, well, I think. Wait, what? Okay, well, follow me this way. But what was wrong with him?
It's a werewolf.
Do you know him?
No, I don't need to. It's a werewolf.
But that's incredible. I
Not
thought that was
for
just
me.
stories.
I'm a
Why?
vampire. They'll kill us.
What? Oh my god, an actual real life vampire.
Yeah.
Where am I? This is incredible. Oh my god.
I don't know where we are, and I hate it. So let's get moving, shall we?
This was terrible, and it's now incredible. Oh my god!
No,
Yes, okay,
it's
yeah,
still
yeah.
terrible. It's still really terrible.
As this conversation is happening, I'm assuming you are moving forward through this vast mechanism.
Natalia's trying to find kind of the fastest way through where possible.
Sure, absolutely. Each time that you try and scan around to find the best way through the mechanism, you note that the weird individual sort of walking slightly ahead of you and enthused about werewolves and vampires seems to be almost unconsciously passing through the easiest passage through this place. You have no idea how she's doing it.
Okay. That's weird, but at least weird in a slightly less awful way. So yeah. Can I also try and figure out roughly what's going on in here? Is it just a load of mechanisms?
I'm not even going to ask for a roll. You have absolutely... It seems like someone has taken a million different machines and fused them together. The purpose and the methodology of which are utterly... lots of bits you see seem like from kind of, an individual who's grown up in the 20th century, seem to make no sense.
Okay. All right.
Cool. This is a cosmic horror machine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And within mere moments, Rhea has led you through the pathways of this thing, and a portal lies on the ground ahead of you.
So have you met werewolves before then? How long have you been a vampire? Is this... wait, were you always a vampire? Is that how it works?
Okay. No, I don't want to. No, I haven't always been a vampire. About 2 years. That isn't how it works, and we need to go.
Oh my god, I can't believe we got to go through that. We have to go through this, but I really hope I see you again on the other side.
I hope I see you too. At least definitely in preference to the werewolf and the wizard.
Natalia sounds like she's never been happier to go through a mysterious magic portal. Are we both passing through?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a combo, that was a hell of a one for getting through this, because there were going to be roles for other people on kind of focusing on trying to find the way forward and find the way forward with this cacophony of sensory inputs. But instead, Rhea turned it into a fun, magical, cultural exchange moment. Next up, we have actually someone's just you know what, this is actually interesting. I'm going to go back on what I just said, because Pierre said I thought she was in slightly revealed form in the glass case, or maybe that was just Marshall. You know what, actually people can see Abby in this realm, so I'm going to say you can see Rhea as well. But having said that, Rhea's issue form looks like it could be a normal human.
Still fairly normal. Yeah. Compared to everyone else.
Well, I'd say it's as strange as you are in that you're a bit pale.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Carolyn looks normal, but...
So actually... yeah, it's only really Beanstalk and Abby that look notably supernatural in there.
Yeah.
And, without. really close examination. Okay.
I mean, normal's a bit of a loaded description anyway, but I'm assuming it was meant in a complimentary manner.
So up top now, John, we need yourself and we need Christopher. There we go. And both of you, you know the drill by now, folks. You emerge into a new place beyond the portal you entered. And this is a hazy void where sourceless light almost imperceptibly shifts colors. Flitting all around as far as the eye can see are strange spirits and beings with all manner of demeanor. Some are clearly distressed or searching for an exit, others vibrating in place contentedly. Still others are engaged in some kind of social contact or conflict. All of them are bizarre looking and abstract in their shape and manner, many of them with little to no visual relationship to anything you have ever encountered. Having said all that, you two are probably the least jarred by this experience, because Beanstalk, Werewolf, Spirits, does stuff. Abby, you've seen some crazy shit in the Shadowlands, so yeah, but you both emerge through the portal, and there you are.
I am going to activate Spirit Speech, and I'm going to address Abby, as I imagine Abby is I recognize her form.
Sure.
Go, Spirit, can you comprehend me normally?
Yes.
Yeah, that speech sounded like words inside your head.
How are you?
Oh, thanks be to Gaia. It's a story for a campfire, not a chase. Let us find a way out of here. At least this is territory that might be somewhat familiar to me, although its citizens are not. Are you well? Are you apologies. Are you as well as can be expected for one who has crossed the veil?
I'm fine, but the smaller lady, she hurt herself going through the last portal. I don't suppose you've seen her.
Not yet. This place is chaos. I might be able to get us out, but we have to break down its walls first. And I don't give a good. I don't fancy our chances. Come, standing still is useless.
All right, lead the way.
Okay, you, as I say, you're kind of in this vast hazy void of shifting color, and around you flit these odd shapes and kind of like, you know, or things that are more other sensory impressions, but somehow visible here. What are we doing in this environment?
I would like to eavesdrop on some of the other spirits to see if they're specifically one of the ones that seem to be looking for exits. Are they intelligent?
Are they what? Sorry, you've got a bit of crackle back on your mic, by the way, but we'll sort it between scenes rather than now.
Are the spirits intelligible? Can I make out what they're discussing?
One way to find out. Only one way to find out, and that's to talk to them. Okay,
I'd like to try.
Well, some of them are communicating with each other. The ones kind of like who seem to be like in distress and flitting around aren't kind of communicating at the moment.
Yeah, I'll see I'll just try and pick up on the conversation. I'll approach it as if I am approaching a conversation at a party and just listen in for a bit.
Okay, sure. Why don't you give me perception plus werewolves have do werewolves have awareness? Or do they have empathy?
I have neither of these.
But are they on your ship?
I do have empathy.
Yeah.
I have empathy actually.
Okay, well, I think empathy is more accurate for like picking up on stuff with a spirit. So can you roll perception plus empathy for me, please, at difficulty 8?
No bonuses for Krynos for mental stats for...
Nope.
6 dice. That is actually a botch, which is not too surprising.
Is it a botch if you spend willpower?
It is not a botch if I spell willpower, but I've already spent willpower on a social roll tonight and doing so twice.
Fair enough. I'm going to go back on my previous thing and say, can you switch mics? Because it's quite quite correctly. And I will describe the outcome of that as you are sort of looking around and trying to sense kind of the impressions of the spirits around you and whether they might be communicating either to themselves or to others or even to you. As Abby, you can see that Beanstalk is sort of clearly trying to like sense something that you have no idea what in the spirits nearby. And as he does so, he seems to be unaware that what seems to be a relatively large spirit with odd kind of extending protuberances and limbs that flicker and shift in odd patterns as it moves through the air. And part of its body seems to be colors without kind of form or shape, but it's sort of moving in your direction. And if a mindless flailing of sort of horrific abstract colors and shapes could feel threatening, this would. And Beanstalk seems unaware of this.
I'm gonna. I still don't want to touch because I might be able to, but I'm out of the habit of it. But I'm going to sort of flail my arms in front of him and say, Wolf man, there's something coming towards us. It doesn't look good. Are you paying attention?
Chris may be sort of organizing his audio at the moment, I suspect.
That's fair.
No, I can. I've just got it back.
Okay, there we go.
Excellent.
There is a threatening spirit coming towards you that Beanstalk had not realized was there until Abby shouted about it.
Okay, I'm going to dodge beside that and kind of. Is it? It's not low. It's not charging. I assume it's kind of.
It's more moving chaotically and is quite large and threatening in nature, and you suspect it may come towards you out of some kind of like
chaos.
Weird spiritly instinct or just randomly.
Okay, I will not be there then. I will change course and just continue kind of moving through the place.
Okay.
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, do I have any, or have I heard anything about strange, multicolored
No.
spirits?
This is not the kind of spirit that dwells in the Shadowlands in any way, shape, or form. I mean, the concept of spirit beyond meaning ghost is not one you're particularly familiar with. It's just that sometimes in the Shadowlands you do encounter like specters that have like monstrous forms and things like that. That's why you're not jarred here. But these kind of umbral spirits are not something you're familiar with.
Right.
Okay. As you're traveling forwards away from this thing, Beanstalk, are you continuing your kind of method of kind of trying to analyze the motions and behavior of the spirits around you?
I think I might be a little bit more direct as there's now a kind of prevailing threat here. So I will just go up to a group that seem to be discussing and kind of interject and go.
Try and speak with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give me a charisma plus enigmas roll, please? Which I think you'll be quite good at. Difficulty 8. You are a mute friend.
God, it's one of those nights, isn't it? Oh no, it's only appearance that goes down. Charisma's fine. Okay, so charisma plus enigmas is 5 dice. And this is again it's a fail. It's just a fail though.
Willpower?
Okay.
I'm just suggesting it's up to you.
I know,
it's what
but
it's for.
Well, what it's for is not getting murdered in combat, but that's just my years of experience in White Wolf speaking.
Sure.
I hoard it like treasure. But yes, I've spent a willpower. Let's push forward.
Okay. At first, the speech and the mannerisms of the spirits seem utterly alien to you, as many spirits do when they're from the Far Umbra. And you struggle for a moment and then kind of focus on the slight similarities, and eventually their kind of the way they communicate resolves itself into your head. These spirits are discussing the futile nature of other spirits' behavior in gathering around what they call the whole. You get a vague sense of the direction of this hole and that other spirits are trying to find their way through it unsuccessfully.
I'm going to see if I can ask them. Could you please, may I ask your nature? Are you a spirit of the wild? Are you a creature of this place? Have you come from afar?
Give me another charisma roll with enigmas, please. And this is going to be a difficulty 9 because it's trying to get specific information other than what they were already discussing.
Good God, that's 2 successes, and that dice roll I'm never going to see again in my life.
Well, there we go. These are they are not only spirits of the wild, they are spirits of the far wild. These are creatures from the far-flung reaches of chaotic creation, which is probably why, at least partly why, you cannot really wrap your head around them all that much. But they seem to have been drawn here voluntarily or otherwise. Yeah. And if you could consolidate some of that information cosmologically with Carolyn, that might be of interest. But also, even if you end up in the same place again, you don't really know that each other knows it. So, But the players can put together some pieces.
Yeah. So I will turn again to Abby and go, apologies, my name is Stocks the Camp. Call me Stocks if it's quick for you. May I have yours?
I'm Abby.
Good. I can find us a way out of this particular sub-pocket of hell we have found ourselves in, but the nature of I'm starting to learn of the nature of this place. We are deep within the bowels of the wild, and thus I fancy my chances of getting us out a little more.
Well, I'll follow you if you know what you're doing.
I'll continue on the way.
Okay, you find yourself moving through this color-shifting void with relative rapidity, and ahead of you, you can see a gathering of spirits moving oddly around what resolves itself to be a dark and jagged rent in the kind of shape of this void. It is another portal. The spirits are kind of bumbling and circling and ramming themselves towards it. And essentially, the portal is quite easily accessible, but if you want to get through without colliding with one of these spirits, you're going to need to make a roll to do that. If you don't care and you think that won't be damaging to you, then go ahead.
I'll make it. Will you?
Probably.
It seems that the geometry of this place would not likely bring us together again. Would you, if it means anything to anyone, tell them we are in. Sorry, Matt. Did you say this is the deep umber or the far umber? I think this is definitely.
I said neither. I said the spirits were from the deeper reaches of the wild umber.
Okay.
I didn't say that was where you are. It might be, but you don't know that.
Doesn't really know for certain. If you see any of the others and it is of any use, you can let them know we are very likely in the deep umbra, and there are sections of this place affiliated with pure chaos.
The deep umbra.
I don't know if that will help us break these shackles, but it might be better than nothing.
None of those words mean anything to you. Well, some of them obviously do. The word umbra does not.
I think I know enough to know umbra means shadow, or like is associated with shadows.
If you know a bit of Spanish, then yeah.
I'll try and I'll remember that. Good luck
to you as well. I will shift into lupus for this because I feel like it's going to be a dexterity heavy job.
It will be, yeah. What I'm going to need from both of you is either dexterity or wits, and then either athletics or enigmas. John, do Wraiths have enigmas?
Yes.
Yeah, that works then. And it's going to be just standard difficulty. One success from Chris, 2 from Abby. Yeah, you both managed to slip past the spirits. Beanstalk a bit more narrowly than Abby, but then he is quite a bit larger. And both of you wait until an odd kind of like strange whistling form moves past on its strange circuitous route to ram itself towards the portal again, dive through, and find yourself feeling that familiar sickening lurch. And now, right, we're at the point where I cannot guarantee that we're not going to get scenes sequentially, right, with the same characters. So we'll see. We'll see.
Unforgivable, Matt.
Unforgivable.
This pattern must maintain forever.
How dare you?
Forever. Unfortunately, it can't. So what we're going to do is we're just going to roll a die. Straight up for that one. Okay, keep Abby and add Natalia, please.
Team dead people.
Team dead people. So both of you emerge from the portal, the same sensation, the same odd displacement, and even before you notice that you are in each other's company, you are standing on grey cliffs awash with green grasses and moss. Behind you, stretching flat wetlands with dark hills on the horizon. Ahead of you, a crashing ocean, white foam creating restless, wine-dark waves. There is no sign of human habitation whatsoever. Then suddenly, there are lights and houses and fields and roads, and overhead aircraft roar and shards erode off the cliffs and crash into the waters. The landscape shatters from moment to moment into brief images of people on horseback, a pristine rolling wilderness, rearing towers of glass and steel, a sunken scree of stone with the colossal glacier rearing overhead like a ravening beast. Only one thing remains constant. Along the cliff's edge, some way ahead of you, remaining still and small amidst the chaos, is a wooden staff planted upright into the earth.
Okay.
It is difficult to even communicate with each other.
Yeah, I'd assumed so. So it's like a constantly shifting landscape.
Mm-hmm. But you can tell it is the same place.
Yes, yeah.
Geography is changing, but you are remaining in the same place. Something else is changing.
Could Natalia infer that it's probably time?
Sure, yeah.
Sure, okay.
I don't know what you mean. Are you saying each of these places has some kind of central concept?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. In which case, Natalia's just going to, this is so weird. Why? Mm-hmm. I hate this. I hate this so much.
And you've emerged from the mechanism into this as well. So you are feeling like you have been battered.
Exactly. And then I'm just going to turn next to me and see a ghost. And what? You're a ghost, right? I'm just going to dive out of the way of a skyscraper.
I would obviously play this how you want, but I would suggest that even this level of communication is quite difficult.
Yeah.
The noise and sensation is utterly overwhelming.
I'm gonna shout something to Natalia. She might be able to pick out the words deep and umbra and something about stalks.
Sure.
But
yeah, gotcha.
What are you talking about? Go that way. And I'm gonna point towards the staff.
Sure, absolutely.
And then just try and leap off various bits of emerging undergrowth.
Absolutely. Okay, a roll clearly needs to be made to make it to the staff. But you know what? I want you to tell me how you are keeping your mind functioning and body stable in moving through this, and then I'll tell you what to roll off the back of it.
I think Natalia is going to be trying to use sort of a combination of wits and dexterity, probably kind of leaning more on trying to see things early when when things shift, and then aiming for whatever seems more stable out of that. Yeah, exactly.
Try and predict, and then just move as fast as possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, then I'd say that's either your choice of wits or dexterity, and it's going to be athletics, I think, comboed with that. So,
yeah. Okay. In which case, I'll go wits. That gives me a slightly better. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. It's good. It's going to be a roll. It's going to be an 8. And while you roll that, let's talk to Abby about what Abby is doing.
How far away are me and Natalia?
Maybe like, I don't know, 15 feet. If you tell me what you might be planning, I might be able to advise.
That's what I'm planning. Instead of going for the staff, of going towards Natalia, because despite the noise and the chaos, if I can touch her, then I can pass on the message I've been told to pass on to whoever.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to say focusing on Natalia is easier than focusing on the staff. If Natalia's ahead of you. But I mean, you say that, about how are you trying to actually traverse the landscape? It's fine to say a mad scramble. Like, how do you think that Abby would try and do this?
I think I'm gonna. Can I try and look for a pattern in the changes and like try and time it?
Yeah. In that case, I'm going to ask you for either wits or intelligence plus enigmas.
Right.
And I'm going to knock your difficulty down by 1 because you, I think, keeping behind Natalia is easier than the staff. So that's difficulty 7 for you. Cool. Natalia, how did you do?
I did not succeed, but I didn't botch. So I got 1 failure, but I also got,
Okay. Do you want to use a willpower to succeed?
A willpower will still not get, because I got 2 failures but 1 success. So it's a failure, but it's not a botch because I did get a success.
No. A willpower just guarantees.
It just guarantees success.
Well, hang on. Success. Sorry, what you said? You got failures and
Yeah. So I got 2 1s and an 8. So I got 1 success but 2 failures.
Right.
But it's not a botch. But if I use willpower,
I honestly can't remember if botches do cancel out willpower successes. I don't think they do, I kind of hinted that they might earlier, but actually I don't.
In which case, let's use that willpower.
No, they don't. Chris reckons they don't. We'll go with that. If there are World of Darkness experts out there who are like, you can't do that, then tough. We are. For this moment.
Willpower
tell us.
Yeah. Okay. You struggle a lot. At points, you maybe even find yourself. What do you think Natalia would do if overwhelmed? Like, just collapse and kind of like for a moment, just eyes closed, trying to like, would that be her kind of reaction?
Block out one of the senses.
Everything.
Yeah, because I don't know whether she'd have been. She might have even tapped into Auspex a little bit to try and get a better idea of what was going on, but that will not have helped.
No, I will say that is what has caused
her
to fail, essentially. The sudden rush of sensory input on that is unbelievable. But as you stagger forwards and kind of you kind of open your eyes after a particularly bad kind of like overwhelming rush of sensory input, and you find yourself somehow stood in front of the staff, and now you are closer. You can see that the staff is 1 branch, the bark cracked and carved with long vertical lines, each having notches and slashes marked along the line's length. At the head, the staff branches into 2, and the whole thing is odd and soft and wrong around the edges, as if it is not really there. Would Natalia know different kinds of wood? Do you think?
No, she's a city girl. She probably hasn't even seen trees outside of a park.
I suspect so. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I think honestly, Beanstalk and maybe Rhea are the only people who stand even a remote chance. So we will move past that. Beyond the staff is the dark void of a portal in the lee of a stone outcrop at the cliff's very edge. It's a somewhat perilous drop, but you could leap and try and end up in or near the portal, but it's a bit of a scramble.
Okay. Can I just look around and see if Abby has managed to...
How did you roll, Abby?
I rolled not well, but I'm spending a willpower.
Okay. Abby is kind of like slightly flickering and translucent, but then she is, and is sort of near behind you, but not... I definitely say, Abby, you have not actively caught up with Natalia. Like, you're, nearer to her than you were, but no nearer for purposes of communication. But she is behind you and coming, like, she's following you. She's there. She would know where you've gone if you go down and try and get
Okay. In which case, I'm just going to take a second to, like, look at this staff and desperately try and decide whether it's gonna rip me apart atom by atom if I touch it.
You're not sure you even can touch it. It seems weirdly insubstantial.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. She's just going to take a deep breath and just give it a go, like embrace the weirdness at this point.
To touch the staff.
Yeah, to try and reach out.
Your hand passes straight through the staff. But your hand feels weird.
Okay. Just gonna like look at her hand for a little bit and just go, I shouldn't have done that, and then just look towards Abby and then point down at the portal and then dive off.
Then go for it. Okay. Do you want to give me, please, a dexterity plus athletics roll?
Sure.
Difficulty. I'm just going to say it's only difficulty 6.
Cool. Okay, 3 successes.
Okay, you basically dive through the portal, like a bit of form in it, like you just dive off this scree on the edge of the cliff, which is itself kind of moving and shifting along with these odd kind of like this kind of time quake you're experiencing. And yeah, Abby, you see Natalia just go right through. After kind of reaching the staff, are you going to do anything different, or are you just kind of follow Natalia's trail?
I will also look at the staff while I'm there.
You get all those same details. Would Abby know different kinds of wood?
Possibly. I can't think of her as much of an outdoors person, but she'd at least know like her mahogany from her oak for, dramatic purposes.
So she might know common furniture woods.
Yeah. Like
you
what?
Do not know this wood.
Okay.
Wouldn't have come up in a mystery. So, the specifics of different types of wood was crucial to sort of as a part of a clue to the story. You had to do some in-depth, like go down.
Yeah, it happens in every story.
Yeah,
desperately grasping.
Whoa! That's some beer and pretzels level stretching right there, folks. Well, I'll have none of that. None of that in this.
You know what it's like when you're writing a story and you just really need to know what type of desk your hard-boiled detective has.
Yeah, bullshit. What are you doing?
I'll guess I'll jump off the cliff.
Sure. Give me again a dexterity plus athletics roll, please. Difficulty 6.
Okay. That is not great for me, but let's give it a try. Difficulty 6 is a fail.
Okay. I honestly can't remember how Wraith, Corpus, and Health and stuff works. Let's do this right now, and then we'll double check it before, next session, just make sure we got it right. But I'm going to treat it roughly the same as an embodied Wraith. So if you could roll your stamina, please, and I will roll some damage alongside it.
An 8 and 2 1s, so that's a fail.
Okay. I don't think soaks can botch.
Oh, it won't be a botch anyway because I got one.
No, but I don't think. I'm not. Do ones remove successes in soaks? Maybe they do. Okay. Well, either way, I mean, it's not huge. You feel yourself as you dive towards this portal. The rocks surrounding it shift and break as you move down, and you basically, it starts as a dive, and then you end up rolling and tumbling down the scree and kind of tipping into the portal, and you feel leaving parts of yourself behind as you do so. Can you mark off 2 points of corpus, please?
Yes.
And you're both through the portal and elsewhere. So, with that in mind, the people we can now have, and again, I can't kind of guarantee no reoccurrences. So let's just roll, and that is that. Okay. Let's keep Natalia, please, and bring on Chris. So let's see how this works. You emerge. Above you, a fresh and clear blue sky. Below your feet, a shimmering network of lines glows and glitters, almost entrancing you with their beauty. You can feel their energy burning inside you with every step you take, and something inside you seems to urge you to let yourself be subsumed into this web of creation and feel what it is like to touch and be touched by everything at once. You can see points in the distance where this energy flares upwards towards the sky in fantastic fountains and towers of sparkling ether. At the peak of one of them, a twisting and pulsing tree-like structure is something that shines differently to the network of power at your feet with a vibrant blue glint. And also, you're right next to a werewolf, Natalia.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to emerge out of the portal, like stumble a little bit because I've just like dived off a cliff. Just go, oh, okay. And then turn around and see the werewolf and just go, ah, and then start like instinctually start trying to run away.
Okay.
What happens?
Sure. So Chris, okay, we've got just a bit here. I don't think Beanstalk will immediately and instinctively know that Natalia is a leech. I think what you have to do is use sense worm or get a really good whiff, right? And it's not just casually smelling. It's like you'd have to intentionally try and scent Natalia, which is probably not the first thing in your mind at this moment. Also, for all I know, Beanstalk's natural instinct, given current events, is not to go rampaging after a nearby leech. You're a silent strider. You're not. It's not like you're a Get a Fenris or a Red Talon or something, right?
Silent Striders are notoriously pragmatic among the clans, so I don't think in this scenario the immediate death of Natalia Wolf is on the cards. What I will say though is I emerged as a lupus, and now that's probably not required anymore. I'm going to just go back to home form, so return to Krynos, and I see Natalia's off there running in a direction. I assume she's got some information I don't, so I'll kind of
so you're
follow
gonna
along.
Chase after her.
I'm not chasing. I'm just kind of like trying to see, like, is she going? Is there structure?
I mean, you know that. Yeah.
What does Natalia see?
Incidentally, obviously, your shift back to Krynos is fine because it's your birth form. When you move to Lupus, did you either do the appropriate roll or spend?
Yeah, so I rolled. I did the
stamina plus primal urge. I think it's cool. Okay, grand.
Things because it was not a tactical shift, I suppose.
Okay, so Natalia, A, are you running in a random direction, and B, Beanstalk is following behind you, albeit I would say not. Like, given the fact that the Krynos, that this form that the werewolf is in, could almost certainly catch up with you very fast. Doesn't seem to be. It's not like a pursuit. It's just like he's following you. You know, he's not slavering and dashing and roaring or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, instinctually, I would have just tried to run away from Beanstalk. So that may have been towards the crackling lightning. It may not have been. So yeah, but once I realised that I'm not being actively chased for my life or unlife, I'm just going to like pause and just like see if he stops as well.
Sure. I mean, I suspect he will if what Chris has described is still his course.
I'm still looking around. It's clear she's not going towards anything strategic. So at this point, I'm going to kind of look towards the one thing that is not like the others. Can I gauge the distance towards this item, this tree on the horizon?
Yeah, it's not like it's probably a couple of minutes of jogging away.
I'll kind of point towards it and kind of amble, change my direction to head that way.
Sure. Werewolf doesn't seem to be coming to disembowel you, Natalia.
It's just going to like follow really uncertainly at a distance.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, both of you, as you're traversing these kind of like glittering, glowing lines of power, I'm going to need both of you to make a roll to resist coming to a stop and experiencing the thrill of this energy moving through your form every time one of your feet like contacts one of these pulsing lines in the ground. Again, this is a roll that's up to how you think you would be resisting it. I will also completely accept one thing I will accept, by the way, is just a willpower roll, and I'll also accept just saying I'm just going to spend a willpower, and that will do it. Also, actually, from Natalia, I would accept a self-control roll of your virtues if that's a good one for you, and because it's so specific, I would also make it quite a non-challenging roll.
Yeah, I'm going to go self-control actually. So
seems appropriate, right? Yeah. Let's have that then at a difficulty of 6, please. Beanstalk, how about you? What are you using to resist the urge to bask in this power?
I'm not sure Beanstalk is going to be resisting.
Okay.
The rationale is, if anyone's interested, this is clearly a place of the wild, and like the wild isn't Gaia, but like some incorrect cosmological readings do kind of align them pretty closely, and so like this is a place. This might be a thing that Beanstalk wants to experience.
Okay. You feel like if you give in, you're not sure if you can pull yourself back out.
I definitely take a roll to pull myself back out, but I'm going to dip the toe in. Figuratively.
Okay, fair enough. Well then, Natalia, how did you roll?
1 success.
Okay. You definitely find yourself staggering at a couple of points, but managed to keep yourself stumbling forwards. The werewolf ahead of you suddenly collapses into essentially a fetal position on the ground.
Okay. She's just going to like pause for a second, just like completely unsure what to do, and then he's just going to like move forward and just like kick him a little bit.
Sure.
Just like nudge him with a toe. Does he move?
Beanstalk, roll your willpower for me, please.
Okay, here we go. Standard difficulty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, plenty. 2 successes.
Okay. Something is physically striking your body. Not in a threat. Certainly not with the strength of a threat.
Oh my god. You really are driving very close to the cliff here, Matt. Yeah, that's probably my cue to try and break myself from the reverie.
Okay. Yeah, you can kind of come to the pale human, as far as you're aware, at this particular stage, is standing over you kind of... Well, Natalia, you describe exactly how you're doing this.
Yeah, I'm literally like nudging your leg with the tip of my shoe just to like see if I can get you to do anything. And then as soon as you start stirring, she's going to like leap backwards a good 6 feet with a little...
Sure. Yeah.
What did that feel like? Not the leap and not the kick, but how was everything?
Well, let me tell you, how much is your temporary gnosis full?
It is, yes.
Then I would like you to fill out the rest of the temporary gnosis ticks in your stack. That you're not raising your gnosis. I want to make that clear. But your temporary gnosis is currently at 10. You feel like you've mainlined a cairn.
Okay. Well, the
You
fun
are
time
a
is over.
spiritually supercharged werewolf.
Yeah, fun time is over, but I am going to blow one of those temporary gnosis on speed of thought, just because I'm so juiced up.
Sure.
I'll kind of stagger about a bit and go, whoa, don't touch the lights, and kind of stagger onwards.
I mean, if you're using speed of thought, you are presumably moving extremely fast towards this tower.
It's just twice as fast, but it is a stagger, so I'm probably
Still
moving at a brisk
fast.
walking
Yeah,
pace.
yeah. But given that you're moving so fast, are you like picking up Natalia or anything as you're pretty much kind of bounding forwards, even at a stagger?
I think Beanstalk's going to realize what's gone on after a short period of time and kind of look back and kind of beckon for her to catch up.
Okay. I just thought it'd be amusing, you suddenly pick it and the vampire's like, don't kill me! But no, that's fine. Yeah, you both make it to the foot of this kind of twisted tower of light, or it's more like a tree of light as I described. You can see the glinting blue at the top, but it's going to be a climb. So again, some kind of roll along those lines would be useful. I'll give you either strength or dexterity, and then lots of athletics rolls in this. Good that we had a really physically powerful crew. So strength or dexterity plus athletics. You know what though? It's like oddly branched, and kind of the branches almost run in a spiral winding pattern up it. So it's actually only difficulty 6. It's more like going up an extremely uncomfortable staircase.
Okay. I'm going dexterity.
Mm-hmm. Just Beanstalk will have a colossal dice pool.
I did, and I managed to fail.
Yeah, I too did not succeed. I got a success and a failure. So
okay. Well, I'm going to say then for both of you that you do make it to the top, but not without kind of falling. Both of you fall at several feet at various points. So I would like both of you to roll your stamina, please, in a way which is largely functionless for Beanstalk. But we'll go through these motions.
10 and a 1. So
okay. Well, Natalia, take 2 bashing, please.
Okay.
As your form becomes even more battered. Oh no, it was Caroline who took the damage previously, so you're not too bad. How did you roll for stamina, Chris?
2 successes on that.
Okay, just take 1 bashing, please, and then probably immediately wipe it off, because by the time you reach the top of this etheric tree, it will have healed, because it's bashing damage, and you're a werewolf. So there we go. Natalia, you feel very battered and bruised as you clamber to the top. You notice that the werewolf also took a spill, but seems to be perfectly fine. So there we go. Ahead of you, in a glass case nearby where another of the jagged portals kind of hovers in the air. In the glass case floats a large and elaborate sapphire blue blade, seemingly carved exquisitely from a single huge gemstone.
Did we see the Azure Knight in that form holding the sword originally?
No. He was without the sword when he was in the glass case.
Okay, cool. In which case, Natalia, extremely exhausted, hefting herself over the edge, is going to go, oh, not another weird thing.
A weapon would be useful. Beanstalk will go and size up the container. It's probably. Does it look like it's in a bad state of repair, or does it look?
It looks identical to the glass cases you were in, and they both look like they're only partly in this reality. It is kind of semi-see-through, translucent, and kind of the case and the blade are kind of fraying at the edges, as if they're not quite here.
You won't be able to touch it. The staff I saw, I couldn't touch either.
Tell me if this staff Beanstalk's going to kind of rake at the container, which I assume
your arm just passes through it.
At the sight of the claws going through, Natalia's just going to take another couple of steps towards the edge, and then just go. It was a staff. It was just made out of wood. The branching. Couldn't touch it.
Any symbols, glyphs?
No.
There kind of were, but I'm not even sure that Natalia. Well, Natalia's an artist.
Yeah.
It had like carved lines down it, which had like slashes or strokes across them. I'm going to take the leap that you're American graffiti artist does not have the cultural touchstones to leap to what this may be.
No, I'll just say, well, there were some lines and scratches on it that went like up and down the length.
For that matter, I'm going to say that Beanstalk also probably does not have the cultural touchstones to maybe think about precisely what this is. Albeit a lot of Garu glyphs have like naturally scratches and lines and stuff. But if any of the players are like, that sounds like a particular thing, you're probably right, but I don't think any of your characters have the language, have the like cultural touchstone to recognize that.
Right. Well, after fiddling a little longer with this, remind me again, there is a portal here, isn't there?
There is a portal like floating in the air near the intangible glass case and sword.
I'm too busy walking the tightrope of not killing the vampire.
Do you think Beanstalk knows this is a vampire at this point?
Not yet, no, but I'm trying to keep it that way.
But yeah. Sure.
That's no more frustrating than the rest of this.
Yeah, I hate it here.
It doesn't matter. Beanstalk will head for the portal.
Okay. We have a number of scenes left. We're getting near our end points, so I'm going to say let's just try and speed up a little bit, because I know we tend to go over with these Cincinnati Chronicles streams anyway, but I don't want to keep anyone up past 3 in the morning. So let's move to the next scene. Because sorry, I didn't actually ask, but I'm assuming Natalia and Beanstalk are moving through the portal.
Yeah, Beanstalk will go through first, and then Natalia will go, oh, didn't kill me. Lovely.
Absolutely. So up at the top, we need Abby and we need Rhea, please. And both of you emerge into quite a mysterious surrounding. A dark mist swirls around you, almost visible shapes coalescing before fading away. Noises and voices you nearly recognize call from near and far, and there is a smell and taste on the edge of your perceptions that leaves you frantically searching your memory for when you experienced this last. But nothing can be grasped fully, and nothing stays long enough to experience more than a momentary fragment, except for one thing glinting sharply through the mist in the middle distance. And obviously, you are both there and have not particularly spoken to each other before. The whole thing is quite disorienting and, distracting.
I'm so sorry if this is rude, but are you normally sort of everything's a little bit shifting, not quite there? Is that normal for you?
So normally people like you can't see me. Well, sometimes like my niece has sort of seen me a couple of times, but Yeah, this is all very new. So I don't know if it's you or here. But I'm Abby. Abby Atkinson.
Oh, sorry, Bria, hi. Yeah, this is very strange, but I think we still need to keep, I think these are all doorways. I think we still need to keep working through, and we're going to get there eventually, I think.
Oh, the big one, the big. I don't. He looked kind of like a wolf. The wolf man.
Apparently he's an actual werewolf. Yeah.
Really? Well, that does
Yeah.
make sense. He did
The
turn into a
vampire
wolf.
told
Okay.
me.
He said his name was Stalks the Camp, and he said something about the Deep Umbra, about as maybe being in the Deep Umbra, and that if I don't know what it means, then someone else might do.
Rhea, you do not know what this means.
That doesn't mean anything to me. I'm really sorry. Well, maybe we can find him again. Matt, this glinting thing in the distance, presumably feeling the pull in that direction as well.
You absolutely
yeah.
are, yeah.
And can we make out anything other than there's a glinting? There's no other kind of shape or form to it at the
No,
moment.
it's very difficult to perceive anything with these like shapes constantly on the edge of your vision, and this this kind of sensory input. It's taking most of your focus if you want to even move in that direction.
Yeah. Look, I think we need to head that way. I don't. Do you want to take my hand? We don't get separated. We don't get lost.
I
And I'll reach out.
will try and take it.
Yeah, you take Rhea's hand.
Oh.
It's very warm.
Okay. You're very warm.
Oh yeah, I do run a little hot.
Yeah.
Rhea, you feel like you're holding ice.
Okay. Well, I don't think I'll comment on it. Yeah, start trying to move in the direction.
Trying to move. Again, this is a tell me what you're doing and I'll give you the roll. You need to move towards this glinting while not losing yourself in like these sort of fragments of sensory memory that are going past you and through you and sort of distracting you from putting one foot in front of the other. So you tell me what you're trying to focus on or do to keep yourself going, and I'll tell you what kind of roll you make. This can also just be a straight up willpower point.
I think a willpower point for me. I'm not too worried about direction. I'm pretty happy that as long as I'm putting one foot in front of the other, I'm going to find my way. So yeah, pure willpower for me, I think.
Sure, absolutely.
I will. I'm trying to. Hang on. I will also go for willpower.
Okay. All right. So we're also just going to spend a willpower to avoid the roll at all. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You are aided in this focus. Abby, probably particularly, you cannot remember the last time you felt warmth. So that's maybe overriding the experience of being in this bizarre realm for you. Yeah. And it doesn't take long as you make your way through this darkened mist before the glinting resolves into the hazy, translucent image of a glass case holding a large and old-fashioned looking vial of rich crimson blood with a slightly decaying and faded rubber stopper. Next to it, hanging in the air, is a jagged, dark portal.
I saw another glass cage with something in it, and I didn't think much of it. I thought it was, I don't know, like part of a museum or something. But there's a vampire, and that looks awfully like a vial of blood. Are these things keeping us here somehow, or is it connected to us?
Or possibly trophies from us, or from the others, the people on the inside, the people he killed. I'm not sure some of them weren't already dead, but
I don't know if I can do anything with that cage before again, if we try to like reach for the case.
It does the same thing as the others. Your hand just passes through it.
I think we still need to go through this portal, but oh, I wish I knew what that was for. You
well,
ready?
I'm ready. If you can pass on Stork's message to whoever you find next, maybe one of the other two will know what's going on.
Okay. Deep Umbra.
Deep Umbra.
So you both step through the portal, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Are you still holding hands?
Yes.
You both feel respectively the warmth and the cold fade away momentarily after stepping through the portal. Okay, I don't need to roll a die now because we are down to our last couple, and one of them definitely comes last. So, it's the team up you've been waiting for if you wanted people to know what the Umbra is. Can we have Chris and Pierre at the top, please? You both emerge into, oh god, I've marked it as done and now I don't know where it is. You are in a huge low room with soft light seemingly coming from the floors and ceiling, both perhaps made of a white stone. It stretches as far as you can see in every direction, featureless and empty, but for something twinkling almost imperceptibly on what passes for the horizon ahead of you. It looks a very, very long way away.
So just nothing around apart from that tiny
Basically,
little speck. I will sort of look down at my hand and kind of reapply my kind of wrapping to sort of try and stem
Have you like
the bleeding.
torn something off your dress or something like that is the idea?
Yeah.
Every one of my games, someone tears something off a dress or a robe to bind their wounds.
It's what you got to do. It's just a rite of passage. Oh, hello there. How close are we to each other?
About 15 feet.
Has this been as strange for you as it has been for me?
I hate it here. Kind of move towards Carolyn. Not in a threatening manner, but you can probably sense the tiredness in Beanstalk.
Yeah. I think we're still in some of his sub-realms, his domain. Each of these places seems to have some connection to different realms or spheres, or...
I'll give Carolyn a sniff, quite pointedly.
Smells like human.
Smells like human that's bleeding. You'll live.
Yeah, it's just a scratch.
Humans are so fragile. This would seem to be the Deep Umbra. If we can break the bonds, I can maybe get us back.
That is an interesting perspective.
If you had any doubts, Carolyn, over what this being is, the mention of the Umbra should solidify it for you. As like a mage who has studied, you are aware of werewolves and you know they have a connection to the Umbra. There is a kind of standing thing among any mages who spend any time in the Umbra of like, you might encounter werewolves, probably leave them alone.
Yeah. You probably know more about this Deep Umbra than I do. I guess we need to find whatever is binding this place and hopefully break those.
The aberration. Come, we have a long journey.
Yeah. I will head towards the twinkling whatever it is on the horizon.
With your next step, it is in front of you. And with your next step, it is further away.
I hate these games.
Something strange is occurring with space. I mean, it might push back on me, but I've got to give it a go. So I am going to try to arrive at exactly the right spot.
So you're trying to like sense the correspondence of this place and try and pinpoint how you have to move to try and cross it.
Yeah, and try and choreograph the moves to get.
And you know what? I think that is a sphere. I think that is a sphere 1. So I think that's fine.
Okay.
Are you doing anything to help yourself?
Yeah, so I think this is serious business. So I'm going to get out my Walkman. I'm going to put in my put on my music. Going to put on my headphones. Get in the zone, and then try and just start counting as I step and experiment. Like maybe just experimenting initially, and then kind of improvising something that expands.
Sure.
Until I get a
well,
feel
then
for
you're using your focus, so that's immediately a +1. I'm going to say, however, and it would be a difficulty 4. I'm going to say that there are a number of factors working against you here. You're more directly facing the Marauder's magics. And some other things I'm not necessarily going to mention. So I'm going to bump the difficulty just up by 1 because you've counted it with a bit of -1 action, right? And it just starts at a flat 4. So let's go with an arete roll at difficulty 5. Don't forget to throw in quintessence if you want to reduce the difficulty. You can spend a quintessence to reduce the difficulty to a 4.
I think it's probably worth it. I think this is my last point of quintessence. But I'll spend it. Difficulty 4, rolling my arete, which is 3. So I think that's basically it. Let's give it a go. 10, 8, 8. Okay, so 3 misses.
So this glinting shape, essentially. How good is Carolyn at mathematics? Like advanced mathematics and physics? Because she will gain a bit of information, but I want to try and contextualize it. But I don't know if Carolyn has the language to understand it.
Yeah, she knows she's pretty good at enigmas and lucid dreaming, but like
not
like she's like 0 on academics, so like not going to be.
Well, let me tell you, Carolyn, if you had a virtual adept here, they may have started using terms like superposition.
Okay.
Because essentially, that glittering thing you can see is everywhere in this chamber and also nowhere in this chamber. But your brain, without knowing the language that you're trying to do, is essentially carrying out this extensive mathematical calculation in order to find the place it needs to be at when you need to be at. There's only one place in this chamber where you and the glittering thing are there at the same point. And you have to find that space. And you do so. You feel like you can take a step forward. You're going to have to bring the werewolf with you somehow. Like, you can just do it by grabbing him and either asking him to move with you or trying to tug the shape with you. But
I'm gonna say just hold on to me, take my hand.
Ew. I'll follow along.
Okay, you both feel a lurch that seems to send you pinballing around this endlessly vast chamber for microseconds. And then you are there. And in front of you is a glass case shimmering and phasing out of existence, shuddering as it flickers between 100 positions ahead of you. In the center of it drifts a single large black feather. And next to it, on the floor, is a portal.
Could you get that?
I attempt to reach for it because I have not encountered any of these things before.
Your hand passes straight through it.
My hand passes straight through. Does it seem to me to be the same kind of effect as the as what has taken me here? Okay.
Like, there is certainly effects of this correspondence chamber at work. There's more than that. It's not quite here.
It's like a projection or something. It's
like an image, a reflection, an echo, something like that. You get the feeling it's somewhere in this realm, but it's not here. What you're seeing is like this, a mirage of it.
Yeah. I don't think I can get it, at least from here. Shall we? And I sort of gesture towards the portal.
So I just want to, I know we should be accelerating, but I want to know, at any point, do I have enough wherewithal to connect what just happened to Magecraft, or my understanding of these?
You really have no understanding of spheres or kind of the magic that made you.
I just want to know, like, am I in the presence of a wizard?
You understand that this seeming human just did something beyond the normal, right? But here's the thing: like, Caroline is far more likely to know of werewolves than you are to know of mages. Give me, if you want to see if you have an awareness of mages, give me an intelligence plus occult roll, and let's call it a difficulty, I don't know, 9. And don't worry about a botch, because botching on knowledge rolls always just leads to shitty role play.
Never mind. Fail.
Sure.
There's also,
you're not aware of mages.
There's also just the general fact of I wasn't particularly freaked out about seeing a werewolf.
Yeah, sure.
And yet I'm human.
This human seems unusual to you.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
It does unusual things, but yeah.
I will proffer the portal to Caroline first.
Mm-hmm. Are we passing through?
Yep, stepping through.
Stepping through. Okay. So that's... I think it's safe to say that our group has figured out variously by now, and certainly one of us seems to have literally listed them rather successfully in the chat, that all these chambers have been based on the 9 spheres of magic, right? Okay, let's go to the 10th chamber. Can we have Caroline and Rhea, please? So, both of you emerge into a muted, trance-like darkness. There is nothing here, only the sound of your breathing, of your muscles moving, and the cacophonous noise of your clothing moving against your skin. You remain here in this nothingness for a lifetime, until in the distance an impossibly tiny red pinprick appears. As it takes days and years and millennia to swell and grow, your senses slowly begin to roll out beyond your body. You feel things, distant things, life and matter and elements and energy and everything in between. It is all connected. There was never anything between you and everything else. And underneath that realization, another. Not only is everything connected, but everything is not everything. Everything is something else just underneath the surface. Everything is just information, a hidden language scribed from the particles of reality, and the Rosetta Stone to translate it is hanging just out of reach. Yours or his or anyone's to grasp if you could just have more forever to comprehend. The red star has come so much closer now. It is almost here, and when it passes overhead, everything will be rewritten. The library of existence will burn, and something else will rise from the ashes. You reach the red star, and then and this is all of you now, you drop to the ground, which feels at this point almost distressingly solid and normal. A cool floor of flagstones meets your flesh, and a dim twilight bathes you as you look up and around to see a long curving corridor not dissimilar in nature to the very first chamber you found yourself in this realm. Plant growth and mosses coat most surfaces, and the light seems to be coming from small shafts overhead. Scattered on the floor around you are the others from the outer circle of glass cases, the others you traverse the strange worlds with. And in front of you, against the wall, is propped the woman who defied and wounded the suspended figure in robes. She is paler and clasping at her shattered ankle with a pained grimace. Knelt by her is the towering blonde man in white armor, who seems to be trying to fashion a crude crutch from twisted wood he has peeled away from the walls. He looks over at you with an almost total lack of comprehension of why and how he has found himself in this place, yet somehow with a simple-minded purpose. Please, help me help her. That's the end of our penultimate session.
Ooh.
There we go. There we go, folks. If anyone has any comments or questions, please pop them in the chat and we'll talk over them. I know these Cincinnati Chronicles streams run late, but we'll keep going, god damn it, because there's only so much left of this. Thank you to my players. Thank you to my viewers. Yeah, let's do some promo and follow thank yous, and then we'll get to the comments. Check below for links, YouTube, Twitch. You can catch us on both places. You can also catch our social media and Discord and Patreon by checking out those links. So please have a look. We run 3 weekly campaigns at the moment. Vason is on Mondays, Simbaroom is on Wednesdays, and this Cincinnati Chronicles is on Thursdays until the week after next, because next week is the final session of this. After that, we'll be picking back up with Big Wet, which is Pierre's survival apocalyptic flooded thing. And also we run one-shots on a monthly basis. We try and run 1 or 2 of them a month. This month there should be 2. On the 20th is Johnny's third part of his sort of space-based Call of Cthulhu world. They're kind of different stories in this, but in the same kind of setting. Check those out. The previous ones are on YouTube in archived form if you want to watch them first, but it's not necessary. But do it anyway because they're great. And on the 26th, I'll be running Hell Knight, which is a lovely Doom biker TTRPG that I'll be running as if my life depended on it, as the tabletop role-playing version of the film Mandy. So there we go. Oh, and thank you, by the way. We've had some resubscribes today. Thank you very much to 42 and to Azimuth. We really appreciate your subscribes to us on Twitch. Okay. I think the players will have some questions, but or suggestions, or wanting their theories to be validated. But first, let's pop anything from the chat we've got, John, if you can bring that up. Don't Kick Food, what kind of awareness of each other do these different World of Darkness groups have? I think we vaguely answered this in one of the previous ones, but the quick rundown of it is not a huge amount. From vampires' perspective, they are generally aware of werewolves, which they call lupines, and they're generally terrified of them because lupines or werewolves generally destroy vampires on sight, because vampires are considered agents of the worm, the vast cosmological horror supernatural entity that the werewolves spend their entire lives fighting against. That is the main relationship. Most of the others, there's a kind of rough antipathy between wolves and mages because they often seek the same sacred magical sites to exploit. But not every werewolf will know about mages, and not every mage will know about werewolves. It's kind of more a broad thing that they're competing over the same resource. And the elders of both are probably kind of aware of each other, but not and they don't hate each other so much as they're just inconveniencing each other, and therefore sometimes come to blows. As far as all the others go, essentially it's kind of restricted to a lot of specific types of different creatures, for want of a better word, know of and interact with others. For example, there is a kith of changelings who interact very closely with wraiths. And oddly, we've got a combo here as well in that Chris's werewolf tribe also often interacts closely with wraiths, so on and so forth. There's a tribe of werewolves who interact quite often with changelings, but no other kind of big, broad things. If you had to pin a thing on which is the friendliest combo, it would probably, even though most of them don't know about each other, be werewolves and changelings. There is no fundamental opposition, and in a certain number of cases, they are actively seeking the same kind of thing. Especially, I alluded to them before, but there's a tribe called the Fianna who very much venerate kind of the fairies and mourn their loss from the world, and changelings are the closest to fairies the World of Darkness still has. I hope that answers the question. Could go a lot further into it, but not now. What we got next, John? One from Inga. Why are you dancing? How are you talking? Is my new favorite character interaction. Yeah, I really like that too. And as well, I like Ria's
beautiful.
Yeah, I like Ria's kind of like winsome and whimsical, kind of like that changeling overriding her thing of holy fuck with wow about all these things was fun.
It turned from scary into amazing story and adventure real fast.
You're an issue, like, this is great story fodder, right? No one's going to believe this. So, yeah, absolutely. What we got next? Ria's excitement about learning was wonderful. John, I don't know where we are and I hate it. I need this on the t-shirt immediately. I don't know what you mean. It definitely doesn't describe the world. In 2023.
I love that the I hate it or I hate this place came up so much from both, especially the vampire and the werewolf. Like,
I was about
there's
to
something
say,
that can bring these guys
There's
together.
something that can bring you together. You both hate this place. Yeah, absolutely. What else we got, John? Anything else?
That's pretty much all for tonight.
Oh, there's a lot of other stuff starred.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed your comment, John. She's got a Star-Lord over there. Was beautiful.
What was that in reference to? Just out of interest.
Caroline putting her Walkman on and making way.
Yeah, like the beginning.
Yeah.
Cool. Someone's made a Don't Kick Food made a Boards of Canada reference. Don't think I didn't notice. There we go. So there we go. Okay. Given that the private chat was actually producing more interaction than the Twitch chat at one point, would anyone just so we know, John did post a thing that said, and I'll give credit to John here, that said, so forces, entropy, life, matter, spirit, time, prime mind, and correspondence. Yes, that was the precise order of the different spheres. Well done. Very, very well done. And well done to me for making it clear enough.
I will say I had entropy as time until the actual time sphere turned up, because I thought it was like a giant.
I mean, they're kind of similar.
Hourglass.
Similar things. Yeah, sure.
It's sand trickling through a hole in the floor.
Sure, absolutely. But of course, the entropy was that the place was constantly in a state of crumbling and destruction.
It's low key frustrating that I have so much. I'm enjoying this so much from a metatextual layer. I love how all these different creatures are interacting, the sitcom-y nature even of it. And my character is just held back by not having 5,000 points in the various lores.
Yeah, Beanstalk doesn't own all the different World of Darkness splat books to read through. We also had, in exactly the same way, Holly said, and an item from each sacrifice in the ritual. Absolutely, yes. So do we there was one of them that he's basically just process of elimination, right? But the others, I think, had some. Well, no, maybe two of them are kind of I'm pretty sure we know where the blood came from. And obviously, Martial's sword is from Martial. The black feather, pretty easy to extrapolate. I want your notions on what the other two are.
I mean, I would guess that the staff would be the mage's, even though he was a virtual adept, so might not have a wood staff. And the soldier uniform was the old man whose name we can't remember.
I'm not sure he's ever been named.
Okay.
I don't think I've named him. So, yeah. I mean, that seems pretty. I would like to hear from Chris on various elements that have come through this in the last few episodes to just see if that. I'm assuming there's mythological elements of things he's recognizing.
Yeah, no, I mean you did flag this one a lot more clearer than the last one. So I did pick up on the Ohm staff. I wish I'd have had the again, very frustrating now in a separate tangential dimension that I don't have a character with enough dots to go describe exactly how the lines are arranged along the stem.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that it splits into two is also very. I think that's you might be pulling that from kind of druidic practice. The split branch is kind of a thing that druids would do, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
but
not every aspect of it is completely echoing something, but it is certainly yeah. Any guesses off the top of your head at what wood it is, Chris?
It's bound to be hawthorn or blackthorn, which are technically the same thing.
Wrong.
What? Well, that's
just another wood associated with mythology of a certain place.
It's clearly mahogany.
It's definitely not mahogany.
Traditional Irish mahogany.
Yeah.
No, it's Scandinavian pine.
I'm assuming multiple people might be able to take a quick stab at the kind of writing that's on it. At the name of the type of writing.
Well, I just said it, but you may.
In that case, it's not right.
It's Ohm script.
Oh, sorry, I did not hear you. Yes, you're quite right. It is. Yeah, there we go. Fun
Which
stuff.
is not pre-Christian. Just before we go, it's post-Christian.
Just in case anyone was like,
some of it.
Just in case, just always you have to lay this down. It's like
some of it's definitely pre-Christian. You get it on.
It's designed to represent the Greek alphabet or the Roman alphabet. It's not.
You get it on. You get it on like late Stone Age and early Iron Age megalithic sites on the British mainland.
It's probably graffiti.
History fight.
Sure. It's not though. But okay. I'm sure it was used post-Christian as well, but it's definitely started. I mean, maybe I am horribly wrong, in which case Chris can hold it over me for years. So one of us is going to be happy about it. Anything else for anyone, or any questions or anything, or shall we wrap up this incredibly rambling and long-winded stream at this point? Are we good? Fight. There we go. I'm going to be. I legit will be really. You know what? I can't actually walk away without.
Oh God!
I'm pretty sure it's not first paragraph, but it's on the Wikipedia page.
Look, let's just have the entire next session be establishing this, and not a finale.
In fairness, if I'm wrong and Matt's right, but he tells me I'm wrong, it's effectively cultural appropriation.
Chris is 100% right, and I am ashamed. So there we go.
I hope that hasn't unraveled the lore of the story. But things might be
it hasn't.
In the world of darkness.
It hasn't at all. If anything, it's mildly added to it, so that's fine. I'm just going to go away and cry because I knew less about that particular script than I thought I did. So there we go. So with me in shame, we will wrap up there, and we will have our final episode of Cincinnati Chronicles next week. Join us then, folks. Until there, take care and stay safe. We'll see you soon. Goodbye. Bye-bye.